Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Adam Ross, and I'm here tonight with you, broadcasting the American Sim Motor Racing GT3 Challenge. We are on week number 4 of Season 3 of this championship, and we're just getting underway in qualifying as the drivers head out on track. Let's take a look at where we're at this week. We're at Mid-Ohio, just wrapped up at Silverstone last week. Bringing up that track map for you. Real quickly, give me just a minute to get our game footage rolling again. There we go. All right, Mid-Ohio, located in Troy Township down in Ohio. I know the few of us from Michigan in the series probably aren't major fans of the location, but it's a fairly old track, opened in 1962, and still maintains its original, mostly original layout. It actually started out with 16 turns and ran clockwise, which it continues to do to this day. Much of the course was initially removed for being too slow and was replaced by the Thunder Valley downhill straight, which you see toward the end of the lap. You see through turns 9 through 11, very high speed portion of the course. Starting out the start line, first come across the left-hander, which is turn 1, followed by a very rapid downhill straight to the keyhole. Keyhole is an 180-degree hairpin, and once they round turn 2 in the keyhole, they will climb back uphill through the cape, which is turn 3, uphill all the way, reaching very high speed. Very good opportunities to pass there if you can get a little bit of a tow from the car ahead. Down to turn 4, just right-hander, heads uphill to turn 5. Turn 5 transitions to an off-camber downhill to turn 6, 7, and 8, which is a quick right, left, right sequence into turn 9, then back to the Thunder Valley section, round the chicane through 11, and the carousel, turn 12. Also semi-tricky to get on the brakes there. The car definitely likes to get unsettled under braking in that portion. And then once again, out of 13, you see that left-hander there onto the start-finish straight. Very difficult to get the power down there, a little bit off camber, and definitely will catch you off guard if you're not careful, if you get greedy with the loud pedal. That's a quick tour of Mid-Ohio. Let's take a look at the standings real quickly. You see right now, Dave Barkley in the lead of the 3 drivers who have completed all 3 races thus far, followed by Doug Arterbright and Patrick Coro. Dave De Silva gaining a position last week. Alex Wiggins gaining 3 positions in the standings last week. That's going to put him up to 5th. Ed, unfortunately, unable to make it last week, so is going to fall a few places, as it's been a little bit iffy on attendance with this series. It's a bit of a last-minute thing, but still fun nonetheless. If you are interested at all in getting involved in this series, go ahead and let us know down in the chat or the comments afterwards, and we'd be happy to have you as long as you race clean. Pace doesn't really matter too much. We're just looking for clean people who like to have fun, usually chatting all throughout the race, and as long as you have a decent amount of respect for your fellow drivers, you should be okay. But anyways, back to qualifying. Right now we see Ari Sherwood top of the board with 123.17. 2/10 over second place at the minute. Only 3 drivers completing a lap thus far out of the 6 currently in the field tonight. Right along with Dave De Silva here and see what he has for this qualifying session. Ooh, very, very sideways in that Porsche. Dave's been fast all throughout the series so far. Looks to have the fastest Sector 3 out of anyone thus far. Like possibly lending, of course, lending itself to the acceleration and grip out of the turns in that slower section. To get a feel for the track, let's go ahead and jump on board. We'll jump on the roll bar of this Porsche 911 GT3. All right, you're looking uphill through turn 5, off camber, downhill to turn 6. Easy to upset the car right here as a switching weight transfer really quickly here and crest into a corner. Definitely likes to unsettle the car there as well. Slowing it up there. Many crests, hill crests combined with turns definitely makes it easy, very easy to lose control of the rear end of your car at this particular track. Very technical, challenging for these drivers, and definitely a rewarding feeling to be able to get this track right. And that Silva has so far to the top of the charts with a 123 point. Scratch that, 122.8, shaves 3/10 off that lap. Give him a healthy gap back to Chris Pilot. Let's jump back to that number 77 Ferrari, see if we've got anything for De Silva there in the lead so far in this qualifying session. Once again, 2 very similar looking Apex Tech Ferraris on course today. We will try our best to keep those straight for you. High overhead with a blunt view of the track, you get an idea of just how vertical of track this is. A lot of elevation change, adding to the complexity and technicality of this course for the drivers. Off turn 13 and across the start line. We'll see if there's any gain. Not going to be any gain there. One more lap at it as our qualifying wraps up. One more first shot to improve upon that time. Let's see if it's possible. Code B4, this is actually a private league, but if you want to drop us your iRacing username, we'd be more than happy to send you an invite if you are interested in joining. Oh, okay. You haven't? Well, if Ed or one of the other guys sent you a league, it should have sent you a league invite within iRacing. So you would just go to your My Leagues page, and you should see the ASMR league come up within there, and then you would go to the Sessions tab. But you'll have to find that league invite first. That said, with them rolling out tonight, it might be a little late at this point. The race session's already starting. Fair enough. Yeah, just let like Dave or Patrick or somebody know. Should be able to get you another invite if you can't find your existing one. Forget who are Yeah, I'd probably ask for it before that point. Let somebody, ask for it before then or request it in iRacing. Just to give them some time to react to it. And actually get you in there, so they don't have to rush, drop everything and go rush to do it. But anyway, back on track with the stream here. We are halfway through our pace lap. We're gonna get this show on the road here at Mid-Ohio. Dave Silva going to lead him to the start in that Roxy replica, Porsche 911. That is correct. We are about midway through the season. September 2nd. Next race will be September 9th, and that'll be at Indy. If you're already in the server, you can go ahead and check the GT3 schedule channel. We'll have that in there. On the green now, Dave Silva gets a good jump. Healthy half-second gap just through turn 1 and 2, separating themselves first and second place from the rest of the field by over 3 seconds. Not sure what happened behind. Definitely not ideal, though. Go ahead and get that full standings board up there. See Chris definitely not messing around, staying right on the tail of that portion. We also see a hot battle going on between third and fourth right now. Nick Burlow. All right, Sherwood, let's take a jump back there. See if we can't get in on this action. Good to see Nick Burlow back in here. The Wayland colors on that Corvette, looking absolutely spectacular. At the gaps, DeSilva's going to put in the fastest lap for lap one, pulling out nearly a second gap as we enter lap two of this race. 50-minute sprint race. Drivers will likely have to pit one time for fuel. Spacing among the drivers at the moment. Still your closest battle right here as Burlow goes around. Burlow back to P6. He gets past two cars for that fourth position. Andy Spicer stands to gain in that Ferrari, up to fourth now. Battle looks like it might heat up in just a minute as Baldiston starts chasing Andy down for that fourth spot. Still a half a gap out front as DeSilva pulls to 1.4 seconds ahead of Chris Paya. Bryce Sherwood holding in third in no man's land, about 5.5 seconds back from your leader. Look back from that Ferrari. Way deep on the brakes for his Baldiston there. A little bit too much from Dave Bucks on time. There's a new fast lap from DeSilva, 122.995. Full second faster than these two are running right now. And the German outrun all of the Italians. 400 Ferraris in pursuit of a lone Porsche, while the fat American brings up the rear. Ooh, look to the inside there. Not quite going to make it stick. Thought better of it. Still really early in this race, only 5 minutes in. Don't want to do anything too hasty. Potentially risk damaging your front arrow this early in the race because it could be a miserable time there. Dips 2 tires, still hangs on to it. Definitely under pressure, though. Nearly might make it side-by-side. Let's start for the straight. Gonna take a look to the inside down to turn 1. This position. See if Noah can get it done. Noah does it. We'll see if we'll have a crossover onto the straight here. Not gonna happen. Clean pass there for Noah. Good spot to get it done. Got the run out of the final turn and made it happen into turn 1. See if Spicer has an answer here. A little bit wide. Begging for that draft to work its magic to get back to the bumper of that number 42 Ferrari. Doesn't look like it's in the cards right now. Balderson continues to stretch that gap, nearly a second now. Slipping and sliding over the crest. For reference, the GT3, the real-life GT3 track record for Mid-Ohio is a 1 minute 20.536, set by Jack Hawksworth and Alexis RCF back in 2018 during the IMSA weekend here. Obviously, different BOP and things at play that accommodated that, and we see a 22, mid-22 being about the lowest time we're going to see out of this particular set of track conditions and bars in iRacing. Look back up front at De Silva, 2.4 second gap, back to second now. Still running fantastic times there with a 23.2 compared to a 23.6 from Chris. Absolutely thrashing that Porsche around this race course. Taking a look back in the middle of the Ferrari sandwich. Ari Sherwood, number 93 Ferrari. Making tidy work of the course so far. No big mistakes to speak of. Putting in the time and getting comfortable with the track and the car at the moment. Quick look at the best times out of the drivers so far. Mid-23s for everyone except for De Silva, and that Porsche managed a 22.995 early on. Chris Meyer actually faster that lap by a tenth, nearly 2 tenths. 23.6, great lap on that time. Jumping back here on board with Spicer, still not letting his Balderson go. Keeping the gap right around a half second. Closed a little bit. That gap was almost a second when we left this battle. closing back in again. Catching the car in front is definitely one thing. Passing is a whole different animal, especially at this track where passing is at a premium because of all the interesting situations the track itself likes to put you into in these corners as you're going over crests and off camber in some corners. Definitely hard to push side by side. Be very selective about where you're deciding to make those passes. Just appreciate how good the interior of this Ferrari 296 looks. That dashboard is gorgeous. Carbon fiber glinting in the sun. This is going to be a spectacular job. Later cars in the GT3 category. Little time through there, down to 0.7, close to a 10th. A little bit slow there. Definitely had to get out of the throttle. Ended up upsetting that car, especially over the... Oh, it's going to go wide into the grass here. Into the Thunder Valley section. Just gets carries a little too much speed in there. That's an off-camber corner. Definitely wants to shove it to the outside. If you're too much speed, it very easily spits you out. As we see there, definitely hard to do. Great job hanging on to that car there. That Corvette back there, looks to me like Burlow is closing on this 5th position. Burlow's actually going to take it to the pits, so he's going to get his fuel stop out of the way. Back up front, De Silva. Still holding about 2.5 second lead. As Florida Man tries to run him down. It closed a little bit. It got down to about 2.2 for just a minute, but then we saw a little bit of a slow last sector. Not quite sure what happened there, but lost about 0.4 in that last lap. Yes, you can't expect everybody to stop one time for fuel to take on a little bit of fuel to make it to the end of the race. It's up to them when they take that fuel stop. As we just saw Burlow taking that pit early, as we see Burlow actually might be out of the race now. Disconnected from the lobby. Indeed he is. We see a disconnect for Burlow, so that puts us down to 5 contestants left tonight. A shame to see, as it looked like he was running down that 5th position. I was excited to see if he was going to be able to do anything against Spicer. Boston might have just had a little bit of an off track. Saw the indicator there for just a moment. case may have been. Gathered it back up and underway again. Lead gap spread out to 3 seconds now. Sherwood holds right around 3 seconds additional behind second place. The even gap to everybody right now. I think Balderson's actually making up ground on that third position. See about a 6-second gap. Closing little by little, gains almost a tenth on that gap right there. Spicer also gaining. That gap shrinks to inside of a second now. Looks like we got some damage on the right front of Spicer. Not sure when picked up that, that damage, but doesn't seem to be affecting the pace too much as of yet. Still rather rapidly running down as Balderston. Not sure if there's something wrong with that car or what. About a second and a half down to half a second gap very, very quickly. 25.2 the last lap for that 42 Ferrari. Maybe cooked the tires, not sure. Definitely seems a little bit slow on the brakes on entering the corner. Generally quick out, but definitely coasting a lot through mid-corner. See big gains on corner entry. Spicer using that draft as good as possible with that front end damage. Might affect the top speed of that car just a little bit. Inside, we'll see if Balderston taking a really wide line once again. He's going to play defensive there, though. Touching this portion of the track. Track likely getting hotter throughout this portion of the race as well. Go ahead and show you what we got for track conditions at present. That's 75 degrees ambient. 68% humidity, partly cloudy, but track temp holding right at 100 degrees. So not too terrible, but definitely warming up a little bit. Certainly don't want to see it get too much warmer than it is at present, as this track has enough grip issues as it is. Right here, coming over this crest, car definitely likes to get upset if you get on the throttle too soon. Right here, going through a quick set of weight transitions as you go over that corner. You're also trying to preload the car for that right-hander. Right here, the suspension wants to unload in that rear end as you're trying to also apply the throttle at the same time. It gets very hairy at quite a few different points. Spicer managing well, though, still maintaining that gap. Quite able to close yet. Very flamboyant. Attempts to break the draft, perhaps. Don't remind me of that crash. was it's not a fun one to watch. If you're into spectacular racing crashes, that's definitely one to look up. As I believe it was, I can't remember who got into him. So whoever was driving the GTO. I know it was GTO. I forget who was driving it. That entry went end over end, probably 10 to 15 feet in the air. Never a good day when your car becomes an airplane. Still maintaining that gap. He's had a few looks, but he's just not been able to do anything with Noah so far. That 0.3 second gap has a few looks. Noah usually slams the door. Well, maybe it's some performance issues, but just overheated the tires a little bit. Had to cool them off for a couple corners and sacrifice that lead that he had initially to recover that tire temperature, let things cool off. Still a handy lead out front. Silva stretched out to 4.5 over Pio. Battle here still remains the closest on track seat intervals for the others, about 5 seconds between the first three is your spread. This battle is happening about 14 seconds behind that third position. Oh, as you see a big run from Spicer, he might get alongside big block from Noah as they head down. Back straight toward that right-hander. Not going to get alongside. A lot of defensive measures employed there to try to keep Spicer at bay. Spicer definitely taking wider entries, trying to get those runs off the corner to make more opportunities like that, but it might be costing a little speed through this section. Deep on the brakes for the 24 Spicer there. Gains a lot of ground, taking a wide entry up the hill, down, and closes that gap right to the rear bumper of Osbaldiston now. Massive braking zone there. Absolutely crushed that gap, but once again, we see through this series, up and over the hills, we see that 24 just lose ground. You see falling back to just about a half a second gap once again. Has to let off there, kind of a bit too hot. Do that left-hand kink there. looking outside as they blast down toward the keyhole once again. You get a little position there. We'll see if we can make a crossover, but I think as Baldiston's going to hug that inside curb and keep that from happening, but we see a run. Spicer to the inside. Next position, half a car length now on Baldiston. Might complete the pass here as they remain side by side. Still not clear yet. As Baldiston can hold that outside, going to have advantage into the left-hander up the hill. Oh, nearly contact there. Baldiston making that car really wide, forces Spicer's hand. Spicer's going to have to get out of it. That's Baldiston. Great defensive driving there. Of course, great driving out of Spicer, especially with that wounded front arrow on that number 24 Ferrari. Good line there. We saw a nice wide mid-apex out of Baldiston. That's going to give him massive speed down the start-finish straight as they blast down toward turn one. Once again, we'll see if Spicer has the braking chops to close that gap again, stretching out to just under 0.6 of a second now. Hard on the brakes into the keyhole. Go around. Spicer's going to hold that inside line. Baldiston going to take that wide line, take that late apex, and get that turbo coming off the corners. But somehow, Spicer still gets alongside. Not sure what happened there. Maybe Baldiston might be having throttle mapping issues or something along those lines. I've seen a few incidents where just massive losses of speed come out of nowhere, it seems like. Perhaps missed a gear shift down the straight. Trying to reason how Spicer, with the damaged front end of his Ferrari, could have gained that quickly. And as Baldiston had the jump off the corner by taking that late apex. Well, as Baldiston goes wide, 2 tires in the grass, going to slip off track, put Spicer to P4. I wouldn't consider this battle done yet. We see Noah getting on top of the wheel. Closing that gap once again, going to look inside. Spicer leaves the door wide open. Noah's going to send it to the inside in the 42, give him that spot back. As we see Spicer with the jump yet again. Coming out of keyhole, Spicer just has advantage almost every lap. It is... I am not sure how he's making that happen, but every time down the straight ends up with more speed. Maybe we helped the front arrow of that car. I'm not sure. Secret to making Ferraris go fast is to smash the front end, apparently. Let's see. Spicer definitely a little slower through that section. Lose about 0.2. Past the halfway point of this race, we're almost at the 30-minute out of 50 minutes for this race. As we see Spicer is going to hit the pits, let those tires cool off for a minute, and take on some fuel. Check back in with our leader, Mr. Da Silva, just setting sail on the field in that pink Porsche 911. Absolutely menacing sounding car, of course menacing looking with that livery as well. Shout out to Mr. Michael Overstreet. So not able to make it tonight. Storm is almost here with 70-mile-an-hour wind gusts and golf ball size hail. That does not sound like a good time, and I probably wouldn't risk my equipment either. Unplug it all. Don't let any power surges affect it. Just keep yourself safe out there. Absolutely. We hope to see you next week as we see David Silva's entered the pits, taking on fuel in that Porsche. Rolling out past fellow Porsche pace car. Back onto track is Chris Pyle going to take over the lead of this race. Still has to pit. So far, only 2 takers so far. 3 takers so far. Make that 4. It looks like Osbaldiston has also come in. It's not. See Spicer, 38 seconds behind. Currently, De Silva, Spicer, the only 2 to take fuel so far. Everyone else still has to make that 1 stop. And we're going to see Chris do just that. And Sherwood and the other Apex Tech Ferrari going to do the same. Which in just a moment should give the lead back to De Silva. Comes around the carousel and back on the start-finish straight, bypassing both Ferraris, and back out front he goes. Really happy to have everyone back. Hopefully next time, again, that next race is not a right away. That is we are going to skip next Monday. That will be an off week, and the next race will be September 9th. Again, at Indianapolis Motor Speedway road course. Hopefully we'll get our some of our regulars back. Hopefully get Dave Barkley back in here. Argabright, Patrick, Alex, Daniel, and the rest. Some quite a few regulars. Hopefully we get back in here. Somebody's got to give De Silva some competition. John, if you're watching, good to have you here. Glad to hear you tuning in. Still working on getting bits and pieces of the stream up and running throughout, building on it every week, and hopefully we'll have a complete product for Season 4. I know the Turn 3 guys do an excellent job on the oval racing side of things and trying to bring just a little bit of that to our rather impromptu Monday night streams for the GT3. Looking on that leaderboard right now, it looks like Ari Sherwood closing that gap to Chris Pio just a little bit. We saw that gap stretched out to roughly 6 seconds earlier. We see that shrink down to 4.8 currently. About 15 minutes left in this race as we see the back end of that 39 Porsche kick out over the crest. Not the first time we've seen it, nor will it be the last. You see a little bit of a hiccup there, don't mind that. look on board with Pennsylvania native. After these pit stops, drivers are running about mid-23s back towards the original pace we saw in the race. We saw a little bit of a slowdown to around 24.5 seconds. It might have been from tire heat. And it could be some of these guys took on new tires, not sure, but they seem to be rather short stops, around 30 or so seconds in total. That includes drive time down pit lanes, so I guess they probably just took a splash and go to get to the end of the race, and that's it. As we see, Silverstone finally takes a pit and goes a lap down to De Silva. Extra time in the pit, not sure what happened. Maybe some damage on that car, maybe some technical issues, not sure, but we'll see one lap down so far. So Spicer's going to inherit that fourth position rather. You see De Silva actually slower that lap. You see that slide out 23.7 that time. We saw 23.4 out of Chris last lap in that second spot. Maybe taking it easy, maybe conserving just a little bit. Making sure not to make any big mistakes. Been pushing the pace all day. The 23.1 even quicker that time out of Chris in that second spot. Second made up this lap alone. Could see a difference in tire wear as well between the rear engine Porsche and the mid-engine Ferrari. Hard to say what exactly is going on. So if it gets them closer together and improves the action, I'm all for it, no matter what that is. At De Silva's last few laps we compare to Chris Pio in the second place. A bit of an upward trend in these lap times. You see a 23.6, 23.7, 23.8 last time by. That's allowed around a 4 to 6/10 gain. The past 3 laps for Chris Pio in second place. That gap now just over 13 seconds. Down from 15 not too long ago. Back to Ari Sherwood again. That gap holding right around 5.5 seconds. Shrunk just under 5 too long ago. But here's Chris. He's found some pace in the later stages of this race. And is making that Ferrari work for him as of late. Track temperature actually cooling a little bit down to 97 degrees. Maybe that could explain some of the pace pickup we've seen out of our second place driver. Making up steady ground on first place. And official retirement out of Silverstone there in 5th position, 4 laps down as of now. And we see Nolan chat too. Yeah, it was great racing. Absolutely Excellent watching you and Andy go at it there. Swapped places quite a few times, and your defensive driving was quite a sight to behold. Did some interesting defensive driving there, not in a bad way whatsoever. It was entertaining through and through. Holding 5.5 seconds, no big events to speak of. We got just under 10 minutes left in this race as we tick past 41 minutes on the timer. Just see the wing. Chris Pio in second place. As Sherwood goes past the camera, has roughly a straightaway on our third place car at the moment. And if you're watching and you're interested in oval racing, ASMR also has an oval racing series, the Hawk Designs Truck Series, which takes place on Wednesday nights. You can find that on the Turn 3 Racing Network, hosted by broadcaster Dave in the Cave, doing an excellent job as always. So if you also like to dabble on the oval side of iRacing, you might want to check that out. Wednesday nights at the same time, by the way. That'll be practice sessions go up 8 o'clock Eastern. The race begins at 9. And let's see what our schedule looks like for the Truck Series. I believe last week, August, they will be at LA Coliseum, mixing it up, I believe, for their all-star race for the season. So I believe it's a non-points paying race. I could be mistaken. Let's see if I can clarify that for you. Yes, I do believe that is a non-points paying race this week, kind of coinciding with the drop week I have next week, or the next Monday for the GT3, so it's kind of a break week for everybody. People are more than welcome to come out and race the Coliseum on Wednesday. Following that, next race, September 4th at Chicagoland. That'll be race 8 out of 13 for the season. Currently, Alex Wiggins leading the points over in the Truck Series side of things. That's over Nicholas Wing in second, and Overstreet making a hard charging comeback to third in the standings, picking up 3 positions in the standings with, I believe, a win last week. Very tight race for the lead in points, weighing only 1 point behind Wiggins for that lead position, and Overstreet only 18 points behind. But enough about trucks. We're back in the zone here with GT3s. See, Sherwood chopped off about a second of that gap. De Silva still lapping around to 23.8, still consistently in the high 23s. See, Chris has fallen off just a little bit. We'll jump ahead to Chris and see what those gaps are. Jump ahead to David rather, and see what those gaps are looking like. Bring up the lap time history. It's been a slow burn on that gap, stretching it back out to 14 seconds, whereas second place car of Chris had rolled down to 13 for just a moment, but it looks like the lap times are starting to fall off for that Ferrari. Maybe a last-ditch effort to get what we could out of the tires. We're seeing a little bit of heat now, a little bit of wear. See consistent gain out of the De Silva there. Last 3 laps, though, holding right around a 23.8 average across the spread. We switch to our second place car, looking at 23.9 across the spread, so losing about a tenth of a lap at the moment. But you know who's not losing a tenth of a lap? That's Ari Sherwood back in third place. Lap times getting quicker. We saw 23.3 last lap and lap 31. That is flying for this stage of the race, and we thought 23.69, which is faster than both of the cars ahead. Close that lap gap down to under 4 seconds, 3.9 now, juggling back and forth around that 4-second mark. And closing, but there's not much time to make that up. It's going to take a big mistake out of that second place, number 77 Ferrari, to make up that ground. There you see the gap visualized as Chris Pio enters the keyhole. Sherwood follows about a half straightaway gap. Does not take much, though. We've seen off-camber corners, tires get a little hot, cook it a little too hard on the brakes and lose that front end, and you are off in the grass very, very quickly. Anything can happen. We've got just under 3 minutes left on the clock. Around turn 9, down into the Thunder Valley section of the course. Turns 10, 11, and now down into the carousel. Turn 12, this double apex here slides wide. Gonna get that nice tight apex for the second portion of that corner. Get that fast run down the start-finish straight, but a little bit of a slower lap there for Sherwood. A little bit of sliding, slipping and sliding, lost about a second. Not great for the chances late in this race. We'll probably see 2 more laps. Time is running out. We see that gap creeping down just a little bit. Sherwood got a good run down the straight, though. This week will give a lot of these guys leg up on points, as they've most, not all, the current drivers in this race have only had 2 starts on the season, whereas the top 3 in points have had 3. So this should level the playing field just a bit. Another slower lap out of Sherwood as second place of Pio picks up the pace again. 23.6, shaving about 3/10 off the average for the lead drivers right about now. That gap back below 14 seconds again. Silva maintaining, though. Hasn't really moved too far from right around that 13.9 to 14 second range. Man of the day, De Silva still getting it done here at Mid-Ohio. Hitting the performance bullseye in the Buckeye State. Dave Da Silva, number 39 Porsche, is going to bring it home. P1, excellent race. Putting on an absolute clinic, showing everyone how it's done in that Porsche. See, Chris Pio is going to come home second. Ari Sherwood, third. Andy Spicer is rounding out our 4 remaining drivers in fourth position. Silva's absolutely burning it down on the front stretch. And that, folks, is Mid-Ohio Race. This was race number 4 out of 10 on the season. A reminder that there will not be a race next week. That is our off week. Next race on the calendar will be September 9th, once again at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Right back here on the same channel, right around 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time for you drivers. Session opens at 8 Eastern. That is when practice opens, and the qualifying begins at 9. So we definitely hope to see everybody back out here next time. And until then, take care. For those of you out there who weren't able to make it this week, we hope to see you again next week. And just a great bit of driving from everybody tonight as we see Dave Da Silva put on a masterclass around the Buckeye State here at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. Once again, we'll see you all again on September 9th. Good night.